Vicious. That's at least what it says on the license plate. All the way from South Dakota, a 2009 Lamborghini Gallardo. Let's get started. And unlike Akon, the rapper, we can pronounce it properly. It's Gallardo, not Gallardo. In the song Smack That, he says, "Want to jump in my Lamborghini Gallardo." I heard that one time a few days ago on the radio, and I just did a face palm. I'm like, no, it's not a Gallardo. Anyways, this is an LP 560. It is an upgraded version of a Gallardo, and it is in pretty good shape, but in shipping, it did get some dust on it. It's a little dirty. We're not going to clean it or mess with it. That's a detailer's job. That's not what we do here. But we will take a look around it. It's here for some issues with some noise up front when steering. Also, the AC is inoperable. It doesn't work. They'd like to know why. And we just found out today the customer said the check engine light is on. I'd like to know what's going on with that as well. So let's go ahead and take a look around this thing. Here is the front of this Gallardo. We do have the trunk lid or frunk lid popped. We'll take a look at that here in a little bit. But it does have a very beautiful front fascia. As you can see, the paint is like a pearl white color. It's very, very pretty as well. Got some aftermarket 19s on it. They are staggered. They're wider in the rear, but they both are 19-inch wheels. One thing I really like about supercars is when you see side scoops or any kind of scoop on the car, they're real. They're functional. They really do something, unlike a 90s Mustang. Around to the back, you can see it's a facelift model. It's got the kind of arrow pointed tail lamps on it. The earlier Gallardos don't have that. Actually, the Gallardos of earlier years actually come all the way up here with the tail lamp assembly. These are just small slits. This is an 09. And there's the Vicious tag all the way from South Dakota. Other than the dust, which accumulated during shipping, it's in really good shape. Let's check out the frunk.
Hey everybody, sorry to interrupt the Wizards video, promise, just a few seconds, but Partworks, the latest auction ends May 1st, 2024. If you're interested, hey, you know, like a clock made out of an Audi water pump, or how about the shift boot made into a lamp from a Lotus, you know, or way over there, the shaving mirror, that is new old stock side mirror to a vintage Rolls Royce. So hey, links in the description below, check it out. Anyway, I'll let you get back to the Wizard. See ya. Here we have a very small storage area. We see some baggage and things in the front, probably a car cover and whatnot. We do have a 12-volt power outlet there. And as you can see, it has a trickle charger hookup here as well. Right behind this panel back here would be our steering rack and all kinds of front suspension work and things of that nature. And there's a lot of work you can do by removing this trunk liner. And there's tons of modules and relay boxes and things in there. Luckily, we don't have to dive into that on this vehicle. Here we are in the engine bay. It does have a nice big wang on it. 5.2 liter V10 as opposed to the earlier Gallardos had a 5.0 V10. This is the newer 5.2. Similar, not the same, but similar to the Audi S6 having a V10 5.2 in it. A lot of similar architecture, but not the same engine exactly. As you can see, there's a little dust on it, and there's some panels in here we've removed because we recharged the AC system. One of the ports is located right here by the valve cover, and the other is conveniently located in a spot you probably won't see. It's underneath this ECM. I'm touching it with my fingertips here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but not very convenient at all. But it's much better than the earlier Gallardos, which were underneath the car. You had to literally place it on a lift, get it up in the air, which we'll do here in a minute. And there was a triangular plate you had to remove to even get to the ports. This is much easier. I'd rather have it this way. Being this is the LP 560, this is the much more powerful version. This one has intake work done, also a tune and various other things done to it. It does have a check engine light on. We'll see if it's because of that or something else, so we'll find out. Let's let Mrs. Wizard give you guys a tour of the really nice interior. Okay, ladies and gents, 17,011 miles. That's it. Let's go ahead and take our hand off that light there. Nice gauge cluster. I really like this. It's easy to read. Got just the information we're needing to see there. Like the very small little buttons on the bottom. Do some resetting and some changing some of those settings in there, but
Really nice, really easy to read. Also love that it says we can go 210 in here. Don't know if I bet it can, but I like that. As we move up, again, we got a little dust in here, but again, dust wipes off. The leather wrap dash is in really nice condition. We have more of the gauges that we would have liked to have seen maybe in that center section, but they are up here as well. So we've got oil pressure, water temperature, and our voltage on the battery. As we move down, you'll see we've got a spot for where the airbag is. We also see it has Lamborghini in the leather. And as we see here, we've got a small infotainment screen there. Lovely controls. I love these little kind of pulls on them. Oh, I opened up the gas can. Go up. There we go. Could do windows. Very simple to use. Just rocks forward. Then we have our controls for like heated seats and our HVAC system. We move down. You can see that you can choose which kind of mode you want it in, hidden in this nice carbon fiber. As we move back, you'll see got the e-brake. It's actually on because obviously we don't want this guy rolling around in the shop. So we go to our seats. Of course, they're leather. Have some nice white diamond stitching on that center section as well, and some nice impressive bolster on the sides as well. So we move to that door card. I really like this design. I like how they've integrated both the diamond pattern and some standard solid. But I love that door handle right there with a speaker hidden behind it. I like that integration. It's a nice design. As we get to our center section between the seats, you'll see that we have one little hidey hole, and that is it. And they've got a golf pencil in there. That's about all you can fit in there. Doesn't go any further. Literally, it's just a little nubbin pencil. So tiny little spot there with a 12-volt charging spot as well. We do put that down. You can see we have our CD changer as well. And then we have literally the shelf. And that's all it is, because above that we go to our little tiny window there, and right up there you can see, if wasn't so dusty, you could probably even see the engine underneath that back deck. As we look at our headliner, it's of course got more of that diamond stitching on it, looking really nice, leather wrapped as well. One nice added touch is they have put Alcantara onto both the visors as well. So just to add a nice soft creature comfort to here, we've got a nice soft touch for our visors. So here we are back at the steering wheel. Just got our lovely Lamborghini symbol in the center, nothing else, because this is a Lamborghini. You want to drive it. Got great handles here for your hands to grip that steering wheel as you're going around those curves. This would be a blast to drive. The only thing I haven't mentioned is, how do you shift this thing? And as Jeremy Clarkson says, we have flappy paddles back there. So we got that E gear being controlled by these little flappy pedals on each side. So enough of this interior talk. Let's get this up in the air and see what's going on underneath.
So you guys are in for a treat. You're going to hear this thing. It is a loud boy. It's got some custom exhaust on it. How do you get this thing on a lift? This car has front lift like a lot of the newer Lamborghinis do. It actually can lift the front up for you. This is for going over like speed bumps and things, but it's handy to actually get it on a lift. Grimes will demonstrate for us.
Gladly. Well, no cold start, so it's not that loud.
Yeah.
And lifting.
And there we go. One thing we're going to find as we check under this is that these came all-wheel drive. The customer had front drive delete, so it's only a rear-wheel drive now. It's kind of a common thing some of the Lambo guys are doing. I don't know if I would do it, but it does give you the capability to do burnouts. As you can see, it's pretty flat underneath the whole thing. For aerodynamics, there's lots of panels that can be removed. You can get access to pipes and everything. But we're going to take a look at these control arms real quick and show you where we were hearing some popping. Grimes actually checked into those. It's particularly the passenger side front, isn't it?
Yep. I'm hearing all of the noise from this side.
We checked the ball joints here. There's also one up here. And tie rods, sway bar links. It only happens when you're turning, really. It's like a pop, 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 and we'll demonstrate it here in a little bit. There's also nothing loose here. We'll take a look at the other side.
Yeah, that was something we thought was because they had removed the drive shaft, they would have had to swap to a different wheel bearing.
Right.
And maybe something was going on there, but yeah, we've got no looseness or play, no noise when you rotate it, so.
Yeah. We did check the driver's side just to be sure there's nothing going on, anything loose over there. Everything checked good, except we did find something that Grimes pointed out. What'd you find here?
So those front lift shocks are hydraulic, and Got a little bit of leakage coming from that one, and it's common on these. Unfortunately, the only solution there is to rebuild them.
We'll see if the customer wants to try out some good used ones or send those off to get rebuilt. We'll have to kind of let him know and see what he wants to do. But that was kind of unexpected. That was not one of the complaints, but he did want it checked over, so we'll let him know what we found. Let's go ahead and move towards the back. Here's the center panel here. It can come off. It has coolant pipes and all kinds of things underneath in the center of the car. And it would have had a drive shaft as well, except for, like I mentioned, it's been deleted. As you can see here, no more drive shaft to the front.
The diff has also gone up there.
Yes. This is a dry sump V10 engine, so you can see all the scavenging passages and things, and the pumps off to the side. That's a very small serpentine belt. It just runs an alternator. Pretty much, that's it. You say, well, what about the AC compressor? Where's that at? And I'll show you that. Right here is actually the AC compressor, just like the ports. It's on the driver's side. And it's not driven by a belt. If you look towards the rear of the compressor, it's got its own little drive shaft. It's a little PTO shaft. We didn't see a power steering pump being ran off the belt. That's because it's also ran off of a little PTO shaft. I'll show you that. Here's the power steering pump here. Very interesting, isn't it, guys?
But you know, Wizard, that doesn't seem too far-fetched because, you know, Lamborghini makes tractors, so they should be using PTOs.
Yes. I don't know if that comes from their tractor days, but definitely is tractor technology. Here's our transaxle. It would have had a drive shaft going forward. The shaft here is still here. It still spins, but it's no longer connected to anything. We have no issues in the rear. You can see these cables hanging down where Grimes removed the panels just to do some inspections. Those will go back up when we put the panels back on. Let's get this thing on the ground and demonstrate the popping noise. We do have wood blocks in the back. You can see they're underneath the rear tires so that when the rear lift lifts, it's even and easy to get underneath. I guess I'll go ahead and have you start the engine, Grimes, and then we'll see if we can hear this popping noise. It's when we hold the brake and do the steering, we can hear like pop, 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 but the customer's concerned about that. So I'll take my microphone off and actually put it in this area.
All right, ready when you are.
Alrighty.
Got one pop out of it. I'm gonna lower the front.
It's popping.
Oh.
All right, so we'll play the game, let you guys choose, and let us know in the comments what you think it is. Is it A, upper ball joint, B, lower control arm, or C, something going on with the brakes? I'll let you guys choose. So what we actually found is the noise is very strong from the brake caliper. You can actually put your hand on it while he's turning it, and you can feel it going pop, pop, pop through the caliper. So we definitely have a plan of attack. What's your plan there?
So initially we did pull this caliper apart, cleaned everything, lubricated everything, and obviously we do still have that. So next step is essentially just to swap pads, hardware, everything side to side, see if the noise follows that, because those rotors are kind of like a floating two-piece. Mm-hmm. So they're, you know, the aluminum hat with the, you know, the steel rotor. So right. It could be something in there because they're just held together with little spokes.
Could be some flex going on, mm-hmm. or something with the pads. So like you said, we're going to swap some parts back and forth, see if the noise follows. That might give us the answer we're going to find there. With the AC, you actually hooked up the AC machine. What did you find with that?
So when I drew down the AC system, I think you were the one that saw it because you were filming yesterday. Mm-hmm. I think there was 0.6 ounces or 0.6 pounds in there.
I think it was 0.06.
0.06, yeah.
Very, almost nothing. Obviously there's a leak, so we got leak detecting dye in, and we pressured up the system, got it fully charged. It actually works. The AC works great. We just need to now monitor where is the leak coming from.
Unfortunately, on something like this, we've got AC lines that run from all the way to the back, all the way to the front. So
Condensers all the way up here, lines. It could be one of numerous different things. That's why we got to kind of monitor. So we have a plan of attack for the brakes, also for the AC. The customer mentioned a check engine light. What did you find with that?
So the check engine light was just bank 1 and 2 rich, and it seems consistent with mid throttle. You've got a little bit of like black smoke that comes out of the exhaust. The customer did mention that it was tuned, so it may be something to do with that, and completely unrelated to any running issue.
Now, something you guys need to keep in mind is when you get your car tuned in any way, shape, or form, they're going in and looking at the parameters in the ECM, and they're changing values, they're changing numbers, so that it behaves differently under different throttle scenarios. Where there should be this much fuel going through, now there might be 10%, 5%, 20%, who knows how much more. It actually can start check engine lights turning on. We don't dive in too much when there's a tune on the car because we have no way of knowing what did they change, what didn't they change.
Right.
We'd just be chasing our tail, running in circles, and 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 hours later find out, oh, they changed this or that. It really needs to go back to the tuner. They know what they did. They can adjust to get that light to stop coming on. It's not really something we can do here because we don't have the software, and also we don't know what they changed. So that won't be fixed here. We will get the brakes fixed, AC figured out. That's pretty much the only reasons it's here. Excellent work on the Lambo. I'll let you go back to brake. So this is definitely not a car to do the shotgun approach, where you just start buying parts and hopefully it fixes it. Maybe you can do that on a Honda Civic or something. We don't do that here anyways, no matter what car it is. But you definitely don't want to do that on a Lamborghini Gallardo because the parts are $500, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. You don't want to take chances like that with other people's money. That's disrespectful. There are times when you can rebuild components, kind of like the brake calipers on the Testarossa. You just don't go out and buy a new set of calipers. They're going to have to be rebuilt, which Danielson's having great luck. He's currently in the process of removing the engine, the powertrain, out of the Testarossa. You're going to check out his channel. Danielson is the name of it. He's got some really sweet content coming up soon for that. I know from experience, I drove Hoovie's Gallardo. It was a light blue one. He had probably a year or two ago. Heck, I don't know how long ago it was. Time passes so fast anymore for me. I drove it a 4.5 or 5 hour drive down to the lake where there's a lake house there, and there's no cruise control. This one doesn't have it either. They're not really meant to be on the highway doing long extended trips. They're just to cruise around town, sporting events, take it down the track, have fun with it. It's a sports car, a supercar basically. It's not meant to be on the highway all the time doing road trips with family. But they are an amazing car to drive. They're very fast. Do you remember the speeding ticket that I got, Mrs. Wizard?
Oh, yes, I do.
I think it was like 130 and a 70. It was something really crazy. We were following Hoovie. He had all these cars out, all the friends. We were driving his cars. Luckily, I was able to get an attorney involved and got it washed out. So no ticket there. We still had to pay an attorney's fee. Still had some fees to pay, but no ticket on the record. So we'll get with the customer and see what they want to do with these front shocks that are leaking. We'll let them know what we find with the brakes when we find it. And hopefully we find some UV leak detecting dye starting to drip or seep out somewhere. Then we have the culprit of why the AC system is empty. It does work. It works fine. It just has a leak somewhere. So we'll get with the customer, see what they want to do with the front leaking shocks. We'll let them know what we find on the brakes. And hopefully some UV leak detecting dye starts showing itself somewhere in the AC system. We need to find out where that is. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on these or any of the cars you see in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut if you purchase anything. We really appreciate it. Make sure to check out Mrs. Wizard's Ways. She's got a lot of really cool content going on there. And make sure to hit the subscribe button here because many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.